Radio Grand Lac.
Vos émissions préférées sont toutes sur Radio Grand Lac.
Your English Weekly. La chronique 100% en anglais de Radio Grand Lac avec Klaus.
Bonjour, avant de passer à l'anglais, j'aimerais juste faire une petite exception et parler un petit peu en français parce que j'aimerais que ce soit bien clair que ceci est une émission pour les francophones mais qui espèrent améliorer leur anglais en l'écoutant dans une situation authentique. Donc tous les mardis vers midi 5, j'ai un entretien avec une personnalité locale en anglais. Des fois, ce sont des francophones, comme aujourd'hui. J'ai une invitée de taille aujourd'hui que je vais vous présenter tout de suite. Et sinon, des fois aussi, des compatriotes à moi, des Américains, des Américaines, des fois des Anglais. Et donc, sur une de leurs passions, si vous voulez vous immerger dans de l'anglais, je vous recommande vivement de venir nous voir à Your Language Workshop, votre atelier d'anglais. Donc, ça s'écrit en anglais tout attaché, Your Language Workshop, donc votre atelier d'anglais.com. On est à côté de la gare à Aix-les-Bains, à 27 boulevard de Russie. Passez quand vous voulez pour voir notre magnifique offre d'ateliers, de cours, de groupes, de cours individuels. On accepte les points CPF que vous connaissez. Tout employé, privé en France cumule des points de formation que vous pouvez utiliser pour faire une formation chez nous. Et vous pouvez aussi financer autrement, bien sûr, par votre entreprise. On a aussi un site à Technolac et à la Ravoire. On a des ateliers tels que English in Song, où je chante des chansons en anglais avec vous, en vous accompagnant à la guitare, au piano. On a d'autres ateliers tels que Coffee and Conversation dans nos trois sites, du Body and Vocal aussi. Et plein d'autres à découvrir sur notre site yourlanguageworkshop.com. Je passe en anglais après juste cette info que vous pouvez trouver nos enregistrements sur la chaîne YouTube de Radio Grand Lac 92.1 à Your English Weekly, le nom de cette émission. Alors, on va passer en anglais. I'd like to welcome you, François-Xavier, to this show. I'm very honored to have you as a guest today.
Thank you very much, Klaus. That's a pleasure for me.
So, could you tell us a bit about your profession? What do you do for work?
I work as an airline pilot for a low-cost airline based in Lyon.
Okay, great. I see you do not want to mention the name of it.
No.
Okay, that's cool. There are
no publicity.
Yes, no advertisement. Yes, and that's such an exciting job. So you actually fly commercial planes.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much everywhere in Europe. Short haul operation, as we say.
Short haul as opposed to long haul.
Long haul. Yeah.
Yes. And how do you say that in French again?
Court courrier.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Wonderful. And how long have you been doing that for?
It's been pretty much 10 years next year.
Okay.
Yeah, 11 years to be precise.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. Is that a fun job?
It is a very fun job. It's quite intense in terms of responsibilities.
Yes.
And we have long days flying all around Europe. But it was a passion of mine when I was a child. So, it's a very, very cool and fun job. I like to do it.
Yes. And do you get scared or when you hear of like plane crashes, like recently in India? I always think of you and other pilot friends I have when I hear of news like that, and it's always fascinating and horrible, of course. Well, how do you feel when there's like a crash?
Well, I don't feel scared as such. I would say, like, I feel concerned because it's a job where we don't have a lot of margin regarding errors that we can make. So most of the time we try to brief ourselves as much as possible to stay focused and to identify the errors that could happen. But yeah, it's part of this kind of risky job. And I don't feel scared. Yeah, as I said,
Scared, yeah.
Yeah, scared. It's just like I would like to know what was the chain of events who lead to that crash.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know I'm putting you on the spot. I actually tend to do that with my guests, even though I always try to put them at ease. But I like asking interesting questions. I was wondering what happened in India. I know you can't know definitely. There have to be like how do you say expertise and investigations. I saw in the New York Times, an American newspaper, that they did mention something about the wing flaps or something. Does that seem to be a major hypothesis in piste, or what happened in India?
Well, we don't know for sure. We just we can only make some, as you said, scenario or hypothesis. I heard about this possibility of the flaps which have been retracted out of the sequence. We can think of a selection of one lever, and maybe that's my own point of view. The pilot misinterprets which lever they have to use.
Misinterpreted which levier they had to use, and
they have to use during the initial part of the flight,
the takeoff.
Exactly. But yeah, there's nothing that we can be sure for the moment. I know that there will be investigation that will be done, and we will know more for sure probably in the next weeks to go.
Have they found the black box? Do you know?
Yeah. They found it straight away. Yeah.
It's amazing how I wasn't expecting. Neither was the press. It's amazing. There was one survivor. Yeah, actually, and the way they described his survival, he didn't know how he survived. Yeah, other people I think perhaps everybody was unfortunately totally mutilated, burned. Even some bodies, I guess, weren't even found. And but he just came out not unscathed. He had injuries, but nothing vital, nothing serious. And he just didn't understand. He just walked out of the crash. Yeah. And he immediately called his family in England, I believe. He's of Indian descent. His brother died in the crash, unfortunately. Okay. And he said, I don't know how I've survived. He just called her immediately after, but I'm here in one piece. I don't know where my brother is. And then he was rushed to hospital because he wasn't in a very good state. Yeah. But it's amazing. He came out of the plane and he called his family immediately. Yeah. Just wandering erring amongst the wreck and the fire and all that. It's an amazing event.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's always so emotional. But that's of course not what makes you passionate about flying. Just before we move on to the passion that you have chosen, could you just speak briefly about your passion for flying?
Yeah, so it started pretty much as much of the, little boys or young kids, staring at the skies and seeing those, white contrails painting the skies. It's a little bit poetic, but that's the way it is.
Chemtrails, you said?
No.
Cumulus.
Contrail.
Okay.
So it's condensation trails.
Contrail. Yeah. I was wondering if it was chemtrail, chemical trail, or cumulus trail, but it's actually condensation
trail.
So like you shouldn't say in French, C-O-N trails. Yeah. Okay. I've always misunderstood that term, actually. Thank you for correcting my English.
So chemtrail is another subject.
Okay. That's also amongst conspiracy theorists. Often they think that people are that some government or something is
trying to kill us or change our mind.
Oh, so it is chemtrails. That's what people talk to me about. But it's condensation trails. Okay, so they're two distinct terms. Okay, so I was right about chemtrails.
One is physical, the other is
conspiracy theorist. Yes. You don't believe in that at all, I hope.
No, not at all. Because
neither do I.
I mean, I would be in the secret, and I never heard about such things when I take my plane.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yes, when you see condensation trails in the sky, when you saw them as a child, they would kind of fascinate you.
It's fascination. Yeah. Yeah. And my dad used to travel quite a lot, and he was always coming back home with some souvenir from a different part of the world and some postcard with aircraft landing or aircraft flying in the middle, in the skies. It's started to build my passion and my interest about that. And when I was able to have a little bit of money to register myself into a flying club, I went straight to it to try if I would love to fly. And after the first lesson, I was totally
You were hooked.
Yeah, exactly. Completely
addicted.
Yeah.
Yes. So you signed up for in a pilot school, in an aviation school, I guess.
It was a flying school back when I was living in Toulouse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were in a good spot for that. Yeah, with Airbus having its headquarters there.
Exactly. So it took me a little bit of time to finish my first, we can say, degree or course, to be able to fly solo on some
airfields
and some airplanes, so little airplanes Cessnas. That we can see in Chambéry as well.
Yeah, Cessnas or what?
Cessnas or Cessna are the more common, but there is Piper, there is Robin. There's plenty of.
Okay. And what's the category, the generic name of the category? Because those are like build types. But what was your first license for?
It was just for recreational flights.
Okay, so that's
tourism.
Tourism.
We call it general aviation.
Okay, general aviation. Yeah. Okay, but not for big planes.
Exactly. Okay. Mm-hmm. And later on, I managed to get some loan. Student loan, and I went to Belgium to work. To be trained as a professional pilot. So it took me 2 years there, and then after that, I managed to get all the license required to apply for airlines.
Okay, all the required licenses to work for an airline and fly big aircraft.
Exactly.
And it's I actually know some, and I've introduced you to a very talented and enthusiastic young man.
Yeah. And we see each other
already. Who wants to become a pilot. And he's told me how competitive the field is now. I also know some other people who want to get a job as an airline pilot. Was it already so competitive?
It always has been competitive.
It's always been so competitive? Yeah.
Because the thing that you have to realize is there is a lot of people who are doing that job because they are passionate individuals.
Yes, there are a lot of people, yes.
Exactly. And the opportunity are quite remote.
Quite rare.
Rare, yeah.
Yes.
So you really have to make yourself appealing and stood out compared to the other candidate.
Oh, you have to stand out from the others.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Have you read Saint-Exupéry? Have you read books by him besides The Little Prince? Yeah. Do you like his writing? Are you inspired by it?
Yeah. It was a nice read.
Okay. Well, before moving on to another passion that you have chosen to speak about today, because I believe you've chosen a different passion than you wanted to surprise me, which is good. Thank you. What would you say is the essence? Besides, you evoked your father showing you and telling you and inspiring you about flying. But what is the essence of your passion for flying? What would you like to share with listeners? What could you say? Does it give you some kind of philosophical viewpoint, or is that too romantic?
I would say I don't know how to say it in English. In English, it's école de la vie.
Ah, yeah.
So you learn a lot
life
about
of school.
Life of school, yeah. You learn a lot about yourself.
Under what aspect? Just the responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Handling under pressure.
Exactly. Responsibility, handling pressure, managing your stress level, and you have a feeling of accomplishment. Okay. Because it's like bringing a project from A to B and complete it.
A to Z.
A to Z.
Yeah. Because when you land,
exactly.
When you've delivered the people to their destination, from project to project, yes.
Exactly. So you have a kind of accomplishment,
a sense of accomplishment. Yes,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and of managing and mastering things that are bigger than you.
Yes,
and in the same time.
At the same time,
you are managing big machines, big complex operations, but you have to stay as well humble in front of the weather, the environment that you are flying into. So
in front of in front of the weather. That's not the right expression. I can't find the right one though. Dealing with the conditions that you have to deal with. Yes. Okay. Yes. And being humble, you have your role in a big machinery. You cannot do this alone. You need air traffic control. And you are you a co-pilot or a pilot mostly?
No, I'm a co-pilot at the moment.
So so it's a team effort,
exactly.
Actually. Yeah. That's always fascinating and can be rather rewarding, no? Being part of a team. I think of like movie productions as well, that it's like you can't do it alone. And just doing it together is
exactly
can be a harmonious bonding experience. To bond means to like get closer to people and to trust each other and stuff. Yeah. Okay, it opens a dimension, doesn't it? Flying. It's like humans can't usually fly naturally, like birds do, and I think that must be part of it too. Like you can go places where you can't go otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. It's help people to connect each other, especially on the remote places where going by road or by train will take days or even weeks sometimes.
Much longer.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we move on to your other passion that I am discovering live with our listeners? What do you want to talk to us about?
My passion's about board games.
Board games, okay, cool. That's also a group kind of activity. Yeah. Okay, tell us about your passion for board games.
Well, again, it's set up when I was a young kid, when I liked to play with my brothers and sisters and my families, especially during the weekends when we gathered together.
On the weekends?
On the weekend,
on the weekends, you say in American English, and in British English, at the weekend.
At the weekend. Okay.
In American English, you stress the first syllable, on the weekend, and you use the preposition on. In British English, I'm saying this for the listeners. In British English, you stress the last syllable and you use the preposition at. So the British say at the weekend, and the Americans, like myself, say on the weekend. So a little different. It's these silly little cultural differences and linguistic. So on the weekends, you'd play board games with your siblings. Siblings is a word for brothers and sisters. You have a lot of siblings?
I've got one brother and one sister.
Okay.
That are a little bit younger than me.
Okay, cool. So you already had enough to like play some board games.
Yeah.
Just the three of you, and you had other family members and friends.
Well, that was we were a child. Nowadays, I gather with some friends of mine, and we tried to organize some parties when we played several games.
When you say parties, do you mean party?
Party.
Or
games.
Okay, games,
Yeah.
yes. Sessions, games, yeah. Okay, yeah. If you pronounce it in the French way, I guess it could work in English, a party, but you'd usually say a game or a session, yeah. Okay. When I'm older than you, probably about by 10 years or so, maybe a bit more, I don't know. When I was young, one fashionable game was not really a board game, but was like a role playing game. You might be guessing what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Which game I'm going to
Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly, Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s and the 90s. I'm from 1969. Was very fashionable. Was that also part of your board game culture, or is that a different kind of category?
No. It was part of the culture I loved.
Okay,
and I still do.
Okay, so it is about kind of like role-playing fantasy. Yeah. Okay, I remember one of the first video games that it was actually a word game. You might know it as well. I was already in front of my screen because we're kind of 5 or 10 years ahead of the rest of the world in New York, I guess, for these kind of things, stupid or not. No, it's true. It's not. It's for me. I'm kind of a romanticist. I tend to be critical of a lot of things we consider as progress, but in this case, at least, it was a pleasant experience. I first was playing Zork. Do you know Zork?
No,
it's a word game, like a fantasy game.
Okay.
You're not familiar with that, but it's not a board game. So I'm getting off the subject. Tell us about some other. Could you give us some examples of other games you played or that you play now, and what you like about them? Without getting too geeky, please.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be difficult because
don't get geeky. Get geeky.
It's a bit of a geeky, geeky environment. I would call it adult games, so it's
adult. We're not talking kinky here. Nothing sexual
not at all.
Or anything. Just
nothing at all.
It appeals more to adults than to children.
Yeah.
It's more complex,
exactly,
and perhaps intellectual, sophisticated. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
So I won't give some titles because that could be a little bit obscure, but there is different themes.
There are different themes.
Like, building rail tracks all around Europe and managing your company as a railway manager.
Okay. Is it okay to say the name?
It's...
don't worry if you have a blank. Don't worry. Yeah. I can imagine. It's like city building, similar to city building things. There's a very famous one. I'm not very good about these games. A video game that is kind of like that too. I can't remember the name either. Anyway, so you like kind of infrastructure building.
Yeah, or there is one that we like in particular with my partner, which is building an entire environment. So we'll select your animals that will populate your environment.
Or ecosystem?
An ecosystem. So you play with cards. You have some tokens as well.
A token is a jeton?
Un jeton.
Yes.
So it could change. The themes could change quite a lot, or have some games that replicate some historical events during, let's say, the Second World War or something like that.
World War II.
Yeah, World War II.
You can say the Second World War, but World War II is the more common term.
Where you will play as commando, trying to, make some special missions behind the enemy lines and stuff like that. So it could be quite various.
Okay. And so you learn things about real life, so to speak, when you play these games. Is that part of the appeal, a part of the attraction of these games, or what is it? Or is it getting away from reality?
It's like all leisure, like it's getting away a little bit from your day-to-day life, but in the meantime, is creating connections
at the same time.
It's creating connections with your friends and relatives, because there is kind of a psychological aspect who defines who you are by the way you are playing. And because they are for young adults, young adults, it's not only games. They help you, like the chess back in the days. It help you, develop your reflections and
intellectual capacities.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, so you like the challenge of it?
Yeah.
It kind of, we can make the connection with your piloting activity with your.
Well, actually, there is two parts that I like. Is as you said, the challenge part, but I'm more keen on the collaborative parts as well, which linked with the profession I do.
Yes, like the team kind of aspects
Teamwork
to it.
and,
yes. Yes. Okay. What I have noticed about myself in board games, I'm an adult. I'm perhaps a bit of a boring adult. I hope not, but in any case,
you're not.
About board games, I kind of am because I am reluctant to play them. But when I do, I really enjoy them. But somehow getting over the threshold, le seuil, of just doing it and participating, I will come out of my isolation and it will be a very pleasant, rewarding experience, almost always. But I'll be reluctant to, maybe out of laziness, maybe out of fear of vulnerability, that I'll be stupid or something. And getting over that is a positive experience. Yeah. Totally. Does that inspire you kind of?
Yeah. Because sometimes when you tell some of your friends who are not really into those kind of activity, they will think that you're still
you're immature.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little bit immature and stuff like that. But as I just explained, help you develop some of your skills and make some interaction with people really.
Yeah, cool. Okay. And what about the border between video games and board games? Is it a clear border to you? Are you also into video games, or are you?
Well, I'm getting old, so I have less time to play video games now.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play quite a lot when I was a bit younger. It's a different environment from my point of view.
Okay.
Getting old, I rather prefer, get into connection with people when I have the time instead of being alone in my
virtual
lounge.
reality.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
I find also talking about like societal developments that there's kind of a positive thing for me that I see about societal developments in the sense that even though it can seem regressive, like immature, to have what can be seen as futile activities, I think it's beautiful to stand to this kind of passion and make oneself vulnerable, because it can kind of be frowned upon. People can see it as immature, but I compliment you on standing to it, because I mean, we all can see ridiculous for several reasons, but it's obviously something that helps you develop and connect to people, and that's something we need so much of in our society that is becoming more virtual and isolationist.
Yeah, exactly,
yeah. Would you like to share one last essential thing about your passion for board games with the listeners before leaving?
You will have to help me a little bit.
Yes. Can you tell us one anecdote of a board game, one moment that was particularly touching or moving or important or just funny or embarrassing or intense?
Yeah, well, I remember that game where, in fact, you have to find a vaccine to help counteract the spread out of the spread of a virus,
mm-hmm.
and we were on the edge of losing the game, and by one good concentration or a good coordination between all my friends who were playing with me, that we managed to find a solution just on the edge, and that was it, just before we were just about to lose. And yeah,
great. It was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're like hanging off the side of a cliff, in falaise, that's what you call a very suspenseful kind of film or story. Thank you so much, François-Xavier. We have to finish the show. And dear listeners, you will find this recording on Your English Weekly on YouTube of Radio Grand Lac. And we will see you next week with another exciting and passionate guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.